during the school day, sitting down for that hour and a half, it's usually harder for me is to just stay focused on the class and keep doing the work that is assigned. It affects my ability to keep up with the class and to be able to stay with the work that's given and instead of and being able to get work done in class time.
Students with learning disabilities and ADHD have parts of their brain that are different than other students. So one part of the brain that could be different is the part of the brain that controls executive functioning. And what I mean by executive functioning is the ability to plan, organize, time manage, and self-monitor. So students with these difficulties would have not only difficulties learning in the classroom, but it can also affect their self-regulation.
Students who have difficulties with self-regulation can easily become frustrated, and as a result, they can often act out or become oppositional towards others. They can become distracting to the other students because they may avoid tasks or talk too much, and their teacher may start to see their behavior as being intentionally disruptive. This can strain the relationship between the teacher and student.
Experience has taught us that although we can't cure learning disabilities, we can help these students by providing external modifications to their environment and teaching them strategies for self-regulating their own behavior.
When we talk about engineering the classroom environment for movement, it really means that we're setting up spaces where kids can get up and be active. So whether that be different breakout spots in your classroom where kids can work, whether it's getting up to work with a partner, doing a demonstration up at the board, it's just providing students opportunities to get up, to move, and be active.
Incorporating group work is another effective approach to get students moving and engaged. Having students identify roles and responsibilities within the group is key to encouraging active participation.
You can share your ideas. It's a little bit more collaborative. So small groups, that gives you guys each some kind of role to play. So think about what you want each person in your group doing. Do you want the person in your group, like maybe somebody's writing down the measurements, maybe somebody's getting up and like actually going out and weighing the stuff. There's different stations around the room, so get up, move around, go to them, share the stuff. Once you're done measuring it, put it back up the front for another group there to use, but you guys got about 10 minutes to work this out.
Incorporating movement in the form of a physical break can often help when a student is showing signs of losing focus or becoming disruptive. Creating a designated area within the classroom for this kind of break can be helpful, so students have a place they can go to where they won't disturb others. Cueing a student to take a short break outside the classroom can also be an effective approach.
Typically when I see a student starting to build up and starting to get really anxious about being in the classroom environment, something I want to address right away. A lot of the learning goes downhill really, really fast when a student can't engage themselves because they're distracted with other things. And even if one student's starting to build up, it affects everybody around them.
So maybe
we
let's
did
just,
stuff. Here, I'll explain to you what we
Logan, maybe this would be a perfect time to take a break. Go grab a drink, come back. If you need a break, you're getting a little bit too excited in here, go for a walk.
Okay.
Come back when you're done.
I'm always excited.
All right. Okay?
Okay.
Thanks.
Depending on the student, giving them the strategies that they need to work their way out of it. If it's a student who just needs a body break, you give them a chance to go walk around. If it's a student who just needs a chance to get up and do something, you change the nature of the activity, and maybe it's get up, I want you guys to try this experiment, you pull out a demo and they can actually get their hands on something and they can move around the room a bit more, lose some of that extra energy.
Using fidget objects can also work well, providing a student maybe with a wristband or a stress ball or some little object they can use at their desk to channel energy.
Having something to play with, like a stress ball or something, usually helps me a lot more, just to have something to fiddle with while the class is going on, just to keep kind of my mind focused. And like during tests, I have gum a lot of the time, which helps me kind of stay focused more on it instead of going off into other places and not being able to do the work.
One of the most important strategies we can help students learn is self-monitor their own behavior. And it's important to remember that it's not the accuracy of this self-monitoring that's the most important, it's really that students are gaining an awareness of their behavior through this process. And this way they can begin to evaluate themselves and understand how they are doing both in school and outside of school. Some approaches teachers can use to help students learn how to self-monitor might be targeting a desired behavior in a class and having students record the frequency of that behavior within a certain time. Or think about providing them with a wristwatch or a timer where they can really check in on themselves and think about, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing at this time?
Every time I pass around, he's not really getting any work done. Even when we're engaged in a lesson or talking in class, he's not really engaged. You can tell the focus is definitely somewhere else.
So I was thinking one strategy you may want to try with him is using a timer. So just an easy one like this, something he can have on his desk. You could set it for 10-15 minutes, have him do some work, come back and check on him and see how much he's got finished. That way you know how much he's working and so does he at the same time. Okay,
I guess that could work. Like if he knew how much time he had to work for, then he could take a break once the timer ran out too,
Yeah.
if he was having a good day. So
Right.
kind of like a reward thing.
And maybe after you've used it for a little bit, you'll sort of figure out what his max work time is. Like maybe you have to start at 5 minutes of focused work time and build your way up to 10 to 15.
Okay, I could try that.
Okay, and maybe another suggestion, some other teachers before have tried a sticky note on the desk, and that way you can actually have Josh monitor his own behavior. So maybe every time he finds that he's not paying attention or he's talking to his friend or, doing something on his computer he shouldn't be doing, he can make a mark on his desk. And that can really help him focus on how much he's really not being attentive in class.
Would you need to prompt him to do that, or would he kind of do that on his own?
Yeah, I think you'd have to teach it to him at the beginning and really be explicit and make sure he's using it. But maybe after a while it would just be something that he can regulate on his own.
Okay, nice.
Often, when students need help in the classroom, it's not always possible to get immediate attention. For some, that can be a source of frustration and an excuse to lose focus. So it's important to teach students strategies for what to do while waiting for help.
For students that really struggle with self-regulation, this can become a distraction or a disruption in the classroom. So some things that teachers can do might be provide students with some colored cards that they can leave on their desk, indicating to the teacher that I need some help when you're finished with the group that you're working with now. Another thought might be to provide that student with a list where they can copy down some of the questions that they want to ask you when the teacher's available to come around. Something to keep them busy in that moment where they can channel down what it is that they want to ask without disrupting their own learning and the others around them.
I like how you guys ended up coming up here, working up on the board all together. You guys contributed really well together for working as such a big team. You guys are doing a fantastic job.
When teachers are working with students with poor self-regulation, it's really important that they acknowledge the small successes and accomplishments of the student. So when they're working with students around these strategies, it's really important that they acknowledge when the student is actually using those strategies in an appropriate way.
Thinking is starting to change in schools. We're beginning to understand that as we develop inclusive learning environments, that all students can be successful and all students can be great learners. So I think especially for students that struggle with self-regulation, their behavior can sometimes be challenging for us as teachers, but we're starting to learn that we can use supports, accommodations, and strategies to help these students be good learners within our classrooms.
To be able to go from not knowing that I really had ADHD to now, it's helped me more be able to stay with the class and stuff by learning different skills that Miss Elliott and other teachers have been helping me to overcome it and be able to succeed and move on and pass courses to be able to move on to university and college next year.